Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Queen Amina Show. Today is going to be an exciting time on the Queen Amina Show. The next 45 minutes to 1 hour, we will be talking to a young, wonderful leader in our community today in the 21st century, making waves out of Belize in the person of Madam Nancy Marin. Before I bring her up, couple of things, guys. Once you come on, it's our culture to share the broadcast, invite your family and friends, and post your comment and questions on the comment section. We will be able to take it as time permits us. So I got few people calling me the last time, oh, you didn't take my question. Yeah, we're only here for 1 hour. So we cannot take everyone's questions, but we will do our best to respond even after the broadcast. So don't be discouraged. Always leave your questions there. Today, we're going to be talking about women in political leadership position. Over the years, we've seen that when women are put in position, they actually bring it to the table. They bring a change. They bring, the women motherhood feelings to the table, and they guard their children, which is the country, jealously, and they bring results. I'll give you a few examples. Today, we have New Zealand, Finland, Germany, Norway, all led by women. And go and look at the record, especially in this pandemic season, and see what they have done for their wonderful country. Take it back to time. One of the prime ministers of United Kingdom was nicknamed as Margaret, as Iron Lady Margaret Thatcher. You know her history and her story of her strong leadership protecting her country. Let's talk about India. The prime minister, the first woman prime minister of any country in those days, was a lady from India. Her Excellency, let me find her name. What's her name? I hope I can pronounce it too. Her Excellency Srimavo Bandaranayake. I think I said that right. So as we go along, I'm going to keep telling you what this women has done and how they have won wars, have fought for their country, and have brought real change to her country. So let me bring up our guest this evening, and we're going to chat with her, and hopefully I'll be able to reach out to you through questions that we're going to be asking her, to be able to put her in that leadership position to bring a change, a true change to the Belizean. So let us bring our guest for today. Hello and welcome to the Queen Amina Show, Madam Nancy.
Hi, Queen Amina. I'm very honored to be on your show. I have seen some of them and you're excellent. Thank you very much for this honor.
Thank you so much, and it's wonderful for us to have you on the show. Knowing fully well that you are super, super busy. It's election period in Belize, and I know you guys are busy, so we're not going to keep you for too long today. But the few minutes we have with you, we would like to start by introducing yourself to our guests. Some of us don't know who you are, so I want people to get to know you before we get into the meat and potato of today.
Certainly. Well, my complete name is Nefertari Nancy Marin. I'm a fourth generation immigrant. My family come from Lebanon, Spain, and from Israel. And so, I was born in Belize, grew up in Belize. Belize is a very unique country. In 2013, I founded the Belize People's Front as a political party, and this is our first election that we're contesting. We're contesting with 17 candidates throughout the country of Belize. So this is a monumental success already for a third party as the Belize People's Front. There's a lot of changes needed. Like I said, Belize is very blessed and very unique. but has been trampled by corruption and by crime and all of these ills that we see, not just in Belize, but worldwide. I am happy that you opened the show talking about woman leadership, because a lot of people are very negative minded these days when they think about woman leadership, especially in Belize. But like you said, the world has seen great leaders, and you were mentioning Sri Lanka, India, Miss Margaret Thatcher in the UK, and these were excellent women. In the 1970s, 1980s, we saw a surge of great women leaders, and now we're seeing that come back in the 21st century in a lot of different countries in Latin America, the Caribbean, in Europe, in the East, we've seen it a lot. So it is very, very interesting time to be in politics.
Amazing. We can't wait to see how this unfolds, and hopefully Belizean would follow suit with what has been happening in the time past with women in leadership position. So my first question for you today would be, you are a lady, and we already know that that stigma on women in leadership, especially as a head of a whole nation, is somewhat not acceptable by majority of people. What are some of the challenges you're facing right now that you would want to talk to the Belizean people about?
Well, it's always challenging when you go against the status quo. Change and revolutionary ideas are not very readily accepted. Though I think the general population of Belize and the world agrees and realizes that these revolutionary ideas are needed. A people's first agenda is needed in every country in the world. And so when you mentioned earlier about these women that are leading these countries in the Caribbean, in New Zealand, in Sweden, and they have done great in this time of COVID, it is simply because they bring forth the heart and struggles of the people to governance. When males lead they lead, how can I put it, I'm not a feminist against men, but they lead by mathematical equations. When a woman really leads by the heart, we do what is right. It is not because we're emotional, though we must agree that womanhood comes with emotion, but we do what we know is needed for the household, for the families, and that translates to communities and to nations. And so this is the big difference at a large scale that we've seen the progress and the success of these women leaders compared to the male dominated leaders. In when the world is going through a pandemic and the world is in crisis, it needs nurturing, it needs healing, and this is the nature of women to do. We're intelligent beings, and most of the women, if not all, are very well qualified. My degree is in international relations and diplomacy. And this is why you see me reaching out even before I'm in office to other countries internationally to see how we can remedy the economic collapse that we're facing in Belize.
It's fantastic that you said women lead with the emotion, yes, but an emotion to protect and an emotion to achieve. I'll give our audience an
Right.
example of that. The First Lady Prime Minister of India, Her Excellency Indira Gandhi is her name, was her name. She fought two wars, two major wars, one with China and one with Pakistan, and was victorious in both wars. And they said that the war with Pakistan was recorded as the biggest number of prisoners of war in the world. Here is the beauty of what a woman would do. This is what she did. After the war, she returned all the prisoners back to Pakistan. No lives were lost. Why? Because she was protecting her country by fighting against the Pakistan But when the war was won, she was thinking of Pakistan too. They need their people back. So that is the judgment a woman will always have, which the men in return will be macho and say, I won you and I'm going to show you that I am the man. So, guys, this time we're going to go after voting a woman into position. I just want you guys to get a little tip of what a woman can do. Moving along, you are the first woman party founder in Belize. How did you come about that? You were a model, you're an author, and now a politician, and the very first woman to go and create something massive like this. Please tell us about that journey.
Sure. When when I had to go to college, I went to university in United States, and my first semester I did journalism, and that's, I guess, where the writing come from. It comes
Mm,
naturally, but I got bored in doing that, and I had always been interested from since I was a child in politics, in what was going on in the world, and what people needed to do to better the lives of others. And so I decided, after many months of meditation, to go into international relations and diplomacy. I moved to Honduras. I wanted to be closer to Latin America, and my job took me to Honduras. But then I joined one of the bigger parties, the People's United Party in Belize, which is the party in opposition at the moment. At
mhm,
that time, they were governing Belize. That's the party that won our independence for us back in 1981. And so the leader, George Price, has always been, or at that time, he's passed now, but he was my mentor. He was a friend, and very much older, but he would always give advice, and I could come to him. And so the relationship was very close. Um, and after my experience, after Mr. Price passed, that party became very, very much corrupt. And as much as I tried to bring change and to speak to the leadership, I realized that in face of arrogant leadership, there is no way that you can bring a people's agenda. And what I
mm,
wanted was to see the lives of my people elevated. I wanted my people to own our country and not to become slaves to tourism, which is what these two political parties did. They enslaved our people into this tourism. They abandoned the agriculture sector, which was
mhm,
back then the backbone of our economy. And they made tourism, but not just did they bring in tourism, it would have been fine if our people could have kept our properties. But they sold the best properties of Belize to the highest bidder and made our people into the waiters, the cooks, the cleaning
mm,
people, and we lost our heritage through that. And we do appreciate tourism, and I encourage people to visit. Belize is a beautiful country, and there's a lot to learn from our heritage, but
mhm.
our people need to own our country.
First.
It's a nationalistic, we need to be proud of what we have, and I find that Belize has lost that. And because we couldn't get ahead with the arrogant and corrupt leadership we were faced with, I decided that the best thing was for me to form my own and bring real servant leaders into my party.
Wow.
Servant leaders that had the benefit of our people at heart. And so, if you look at the preambles of our party, you can only become a candidate in the Belize People's Front if you have served in the military, in the police, if you have served in some voluntary way, serve this country in an NGO, whatever. But you have to have shown service to people, and
Wow.
you cannot have been elected within the two corrupt parties. And so we're slating new people, but true servant leaders.
That's amazing. I noticed that one third of your seats are given to women.
We wanted 50%, and we're still trying. for the 50%, but we have 1/3 so far, and it is still more than any other party in Belize has done.
You think we're seeing a sea of change coming to happen truly? How, I mean, to bring that change of how political issues are viewed, because when people think politics, they think men. Are you
Yeah.
going to be that person that is going to make that change happen?
I believe that I am because I have no interest in giving up. There's absolutely no giving up. We've been victimized heavily by the government. I will tell you
Mhm.
that they single-handedly destroyed my company. My husband was fired from his job. Our Secretary General has struggled. He's a contractor, and he's been contracts taken away. We've been threatened, and we're not giving up because everything that they can put us through, our country is worth more. And what we're doing is we're fighting to take back our country from the hands of corrupt men that have destroyed the jewel that we once had. Belize was known as the jewel of the Caribbean, and
Mm,
that's not for any small reason. We
wow,
our natural resources has not completely been developed. I mean, you mentioned earlier about our Mayan ruins.
that's right.
Only
We're going to
10
be
has been
talking about
only
that.
they're beautiful, and they're historic. The
Mm,
Mayan civilization was one of the most intelligent, most progressive civilizations in the world, and yet our people have lost that pride. Our governments have only excavated 10, and not even they haven't even excavated them completely. There's much work to be done, and the Belize People's Front is engaged, and we're compromised with our people to really excavate these and make Belize the jewel that it once was.
wow. We're going to talk about that a little bit more so people can understand. There's a comment from Nebo TV. Nebo TV is a political, it's a TV that, throws light on politicians around the world also. And she said, I must commend every woman who are participating in a male dominated position. Women are being marginalized in the political arena for a very long time. Yes, you are right. You are so right. And she followed up by saying, must comment everyone. Oh, okay. So that's the same statement. I think there's another one here that says, oh, Manoa Roy, thank you, said, yes, whenever the child in a man cries, men always need a lap of a mother. That is so true. That is so true. And those are the things we want to talk about today so that people don't go out voting because she's a woman and this a man. No, 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 no. Gone are those days. You need to vote for someone that is going to stand and do exactly what they promise during the time of campaign. And I would go to when you talk about threat, the whole world knows that the Guatemalans were one time trying to take some of your islands, and they even took away your flag. None of the men or anyone was able to go and stand up to these people. It is in record that you stood up to them, and not just stood up to them, you brought back the flag back to Belize. Can you talk to our audience why they shouldn't vote for you?
Well,
They have to.
yes,
They don't.
I really had to stand up. So the backstory behind that is Belize has for long, over some 200 years, even before independence, have that claim of our territory over our heads. It, you know, Way back, all this land was the root of the Mayan world. It was a Mayan civilization. There were no borders and everything. And then we were colonized in this part of the Americas, some by the British, some by Spain. And Guatemala has that claim. Whatever happened, we got our independence in 1981, which means that we had our territory intact given to us. We're an independent sovereign country. But as you have it, weak leadership, corrupt leadership in our country, they decide to agreed to take this dispute now to the ICJ, the International Court of Justice.
Mhm.
I stood completely going to the ICJ because we're a sovereign nation, and I believe that Guatemala is not our enemy. I think that we are brothers, and we should always seek diplomatic solutions and brotherly solutions. I have been strong advocate for a united Latin America, a united Caribbean, because that is our strength in unity.
Mhm.
So when Guatemala claimed the Sarstoon Island, which is very key for trade, that part of the, it opens up to the Caribbean Sea. So they are interested in that island and that channel of water. They claimed it and removed our Coast Guard from that area by orders of our Prime Minister
Mhm.
hours before I took the flag. We have tried to visit the area. Our fishermen fish in that area. They can no longer do that. They can no longer earn a living by fishing. Our tourists cannot visit that area. And so we kept going, trying to visit, and the Guatemalan military kept blocking us, stopping us. And I decided that it was time for somebody to stand up to them because we cannot lose that island. So
Hmm.
I decided to plant my flag there and claim back our island. And we did that. The Guatemalan military decides that they would come and remove the flag, and they were taking my flag. And this was a dishonor to my country, and I'm not about to let anybody dishonor my country by taking my national flag. And so I had to demand that they gave me back the flag. It was unprecedented. Nobody had ever stood up to the Guatemalan military, especially no civilian, and God forbid, no woman. And so it was unprecedented, and a lot of people were amazed. Of course, my government said I was causing an international incident, but I wanted to bring international attention to the bullying of Guatemala and to our government allowing such bullying.
Mhm.
So that's what I did.
Fantastic, amazing. A guest here is saying, profound, Nancy, you are doing very well and we support you. Thank you so much. We want to see that
Thank you.
support at the poll, not just saying it on the Queen Amina show. You guys need to gather up yourselves and really, really go out and vote. Now, one of the things that the Belizeans do very well is, and they have, is what we were talking about earlier, the Maya. I can
The
never
Maya.
pronounce it well. The Maya.
Maya.
You guys have, okay. You have 10 of that Maya archaeological sites in Belize, correct? Yet
Well,
people
there's much more, but 10 that are known.
that are known. Okay.
Yeah.
So Belizeans make some sort of money for their economy through tourism. And this is one thing that I think you would be interested in reviving because research shows that averagely people come to visit Belize, they stay 5 days. But we know that the longer they stay, the more money they will be, spending in the economy and maybe find something to invest in. So, how will your party, if you win, try to make this a more interesting site for people that are coming into Belize to stay longer and even want to invest in Belize to boost the economy?
So for sure, we definitely need to excavate and develop more of these Mayan sites to make it more tourist friendly, to make it more attractive. But I believe that one of the key issues is that Belizeans in our national university, we don't have archaeology as a choice in career, and that is important. We are in the Mayan route in the Mundo Maya in Central America. It is important that people are given the opportunity to study our heritage and to be able to go themselves and help with the excavation of these Mayan sites. And so that is one of the things that we will bring to education in Belize is archaeology. so that our young people can take that initiative in their own hands to excavate what our ancestors has blessed us with.
That would be amazing because the young people are very, very curious and they always want to learn. And that would be fantastic. So, on the education side, these are some of the changes that you're going to be bringing if elected. Let's talk about women. Women in Belize, just like a lot of every other places in the world today, are being bullied by the opposite sex. It's very obvious that these women are looked upon as weaker vessels, a no good, for nothing kind of, treatment. What would you do if your party win to be able to bring justice, some sort of justice, to this bullying and abuse that happens around the world, not just Belize? Because if you use Belize as an example, another part of the world would look at it too and said, wow, we should do the same thing. So your change that you are trying to initiate in Belize is going to affect the universe at large.
So I didn't wait until I am elected to try to assist the women of Belize. I have a foundation called the Nancy Marin Youth Foundation. But apart from that youth foundation, we have an arm that is a victim support arm. And this is because we saw how domestic violence, how child abuse was affecting the youth of Belize. It really hampers their progress. It throws them into a life of crime. And in
Mhm.
trying to stop that, we must help the mothers and the sisters, and the women of Belize. And so we have the only victim support unit, the only active victim support unit in the country of Belize. And I am the founder and the head of this victim support. But a big problem for women attaining justice is the court proceedings. The court system is very, very much male dominated. They have not made policy changes that are friendly to women. If women try to take any kind of abuse to court, just a couple years ago, before our victim support, even the police would just make fun of women and not really take their reports seriously. Now, through the victim support, we've done a series of education to police and to the general public, and it's being taken seriously. But when I come into office, it's not a matter of if I come into office, it's just a matter of time. And when I come into office, a crime against a woman will be a crime against the state, and it has to be taken that seriously. Court proceedings has to be facilitated. We have to boost up court proceedings and get rid of that backlog of so many women complaints that have not received justice. We also have, when we talk about women and justice, we have a whole leap of missing people in Belize, young people that went missing through, I don't know how much you got into the crime of Belize, but with the corrupt governments, we also now have narco planes landing on our highways, in our farms, as if they're parking a bus, and it doesn't really matter. And it is known in Belize that some of our leaders are involved in these things for campaign financing purposes. And so when we talk about justice for women, we talk about mothers that are hurt, mothers that are still crying, not knowing what happened to their child. And these kinds of things need to be. We don't have a forensic lab in Belize, for example, something as simple as this for solving crimes. And this is one of the priority for me, is to develop a state of the art international standards forensic lab to bring justice to not just our women, but to our people in general.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. I am going to go a little bit back to the economy of Belize again, because most of the crime that happens in any country is usually backed up on the underlying problem is unemployment. Belize has a very, very high unemployment rate. And one of the things that Belize as a country make money from is sugar and banana. So we
Right.
now know that because of restrictions, Cuba is not able to ship out, sugar as much as they are able to. When you become elected, how would you take advantage of this fact to benefit the Belizeans by, you know, through that creating more jobs for especially women in your country?
Before COVID hit us, for about 41 to 45% of our population was living under the poverty line.
Mhm.
About the same of an unemployment. Now that COVID hit us, um, we're estimating at least an 80% loss of jobs because we were heavily dependent on tourism. So you're right, poverty has increased in our country. But even before COVID hit us, we were heading down the hill because the investments that the male dominated governance has done to Belize is that they invested in infrastructure, in road projects. And yes, it is good, they modernize the road projects, but a lot of these went to like bribes, under the table payments by contractors, and we didn't get value for money. All of these investments are loans. They're not grants. They didn't take it from our national monetary funds. They're loans. So for the next 3 to 4 generations, Belizeans will be paying these loans. That majority of it went into the pockets of corrupt ministers. So you must,
Wow.
I say this because I'm heading towards the banana and the sugar industry. The sugar industry, we have one factory in Belize. It is believed that through negotiating, we will call it, with the both parties that have been in power, um, they have a concession, and they're not allowing any other factory to come to Belize. Although it is unconstitutional to do things like that, this is what our government has done, and this is the reality we're living. In the banana industry, somewhere around 6,200 acres has been developed, no more. Belize has
Wow.
lots of land and a very small population, which means that we can invest more in sugar, in ethanol. We can invest more in banana. There's in the Caribbean, there's demands for nuts, for example, the cashew nuts. Our
Mhm.
soil gives us to that. We have very, very fertile soil. We have underground water. We're rich with water and rich with soil. Belize is a blessed country. But our governments have not been interested in investing in the lives of our people. So the farmers didn't get any assistance. We had a drought last year, and the international community donated grants to Belize to assist our farmers. Our farmers have not received a cent of that money yet because that went to the pockets of corrupt politicians. And the international community has to realize this, because when you take money, for example, if Canada takes money, the Canadian people should be very angry at their government. The American people, the people from the United Kingdom, from France that send money to Belize should be very angry, because what they're doing is they're contributing to corruption.
Hmm.
If so, my thing is that there are lots of NGOs. When you have a corrupt government, these countries need to invest directly with the people, because we need to break the chains of corruption in every country in the world. Our
That's right.
people, our indigenous people, are suffering. They've not invested a cent to better the lives of indigenous peoples in the southern part of Belize. Or a Garifuna or Afro-descendant people are the people that are filling up our jails. And it is not because they're bad people. They're
Mm-mm.
highly intelligent people. The people that derive from Africa were and are very intelligent people with good hearts, with good upbringing. But in the
Mhm.
lack of opportunity that they've given to these people, they fall into crime. And instead of helping our young Afro descendants and our young Maya people, they fill the jail cells with them. They punish them for the lack of opportunity that our governments give them. And this is what a government led by Nancy Marin and the Belize People's Front need to change. We need to give people opportunity instead of just shove them in a jail cell and not give them any help.
Amazing. In Belize, we thank you, by the way, for throwing light on that. In Belize, we statistics shows that a lot of people have diabetics, and unfortunately, there are no good facilities to take care of these Belizeans. I think one of the best hospitals is in uh, was it Thailand? I don't remember exactly, but nothing. Taiwan, sorry, it's in Taiwan, not a country close to Belize at all. How, if you, when you get elected, how do you plan to at least bring something that would help the Belizeans to have good health care?
You know, Taiwan is a very strong ally of Belize. Belize governments have chosen to ally with Taiwan versus China, and that's fine. We won't get into the international relations of it.
No, yes.
But we do have Cuba next door, who's also an ally of Belize, and they have done really, really well in fighting diabetes in Cuba and in assisting around the world. They do have a lot of their medical brigades to come to Belize, but Belize needs its own.
That's
Belize
right.
needs to invest. Our medical facilities are really a disgrace. We had a loan a few years ago, I think some 9 years ago, from Spain, and they built a beautiful facility in the city, in Belize City, and this is the Carl Huchner Hospital. Well, the roof fell last year. The roof caved in because what happens is the same. We come back again, and I'm sorry, Queen Amina, to be bringing up corruption all the time. But when you take when contractors have to give as a bribe 40 and 50% of their contract back to a minister to be able to get that contract, you know, this is the result we see. We see roads that will cave in for a little bit of rain. We see roofs that will cave in with the first tremor that we get, and we're not even in the equator for earthquakes. Uh, but we get the effects of from Honduras or Guatemala or neighboring countries, Mexico, who's very prone to earthquakes, and just the tremors caved in that roof, you know. And so this is the effect, and so we need to first invest in proper facilities, and then look at things like diabetes, like kidney disease is another one next to diabetes. We've seen
Yeah.
a rise in cancer, and we only have one hospital in the southern part of Belize that desperately needs a lot of help, but no investment has gone into that. And health is definitely one of our priorities to look into. But I think that because Cuba is very close to Belize, I think that we can lean on Cuba to get some training, to get some assistance as to how to deal with this diabetes surge. We have places like India here that are doing very, very well in fighting diabetes. We don't have the kind of relationship that I wish we would have with places from the East and places like India. And all that work needs to be developed. We're already reaching out to India. We're in with Taiwan, but definitely a lot of work needs to be done in reaching out to international community for the help of diabetes.
Okay. What exactly it would be the kind of partnership would you be looking for India? I'm particularly interested in India because I have a lot of friends there, and I know they are super powerful and they got good things. So, for you, when you're elected, what in particular would you be looking for in partnership with a country like India?
Well, you see, we don't in Belize, we don't have pharmaceutical companies. What we do have is the natural resources. So we do have natural medicine, and I would love to see that researchers and pharmaceutical people from India come to explore Belize and see how they can retrieve from our natural resources and help us to develop that industry here in Belize, through a partnership with them. And I believe that that would be ingenious. Never before has Belize contributed to the world of pharmaceutical through our natural resources. We have many natural doctors, but I definitely believe that this is an industry that we need to explore, and I would love to explore that with India.
Beautiful. Now let's talk a little bit before. Whoa, we are time, like the 40 minutes come and go so
Oh
quickly. We
wow,
didn't
it felt
even
like we
start.
just started.
I know. But you know what? I we've gotten some good stuff in here, and I'm pretty sure our viewers now and after would get, exactly where your heart is. That's all I wanted to bring out in this broadcast. But you know how they say all works without play makes Jack a dull boy. So today we want to talk a little bit about some fun. You used to be a model, right?
That's right.
Yeah, you used to be a model. So, and in Central America and South America, they are all known for very beautiful people, physically and even from the heart. And they have a lot of beauty pageants. And we've never heard anything about pageantry thing coming out of Belize. When you are elected, do you think it's an area that you would see, maybe a dream of a young girl that wants to become, Naomi Campbell of the world tomorrow? Do you think it's something that you would like to maybe give it a thought and explore in
Um,
Belize?
well, Queen Amina, yes, I did commercial modeling in the US, in Honduras, and in Belize. I was one of the first models that posed for our local beer, the Belkin beer. I was on their calendar, and some of their billboards. So this again was something that was they tried to bully me with, exposing those old pictures. They did me a favor if we want to talk
That's
about
okay.
fun.
Yeah, it makes you popular.
Yeah. But in 1996, I did I developed and bring the first international pageant into Belize. It was called the Miss Rainforest International. In 2008, when this government came into power, they stopped the funding. The Belize Tourism Board and the Ministry of Finance used to give us a grant because it was a big tourism thing. Whenever we had Miss Rainforest, the hotels would be booked out. And we had participants from 16 different countries to come to Belize. So we did explore it, and it is very, very much close to my heart because there's nothing like using the beauty and intelligence of women to bring
That's right.
attention to important issues. And we brought the important issues was our rainforest, our pristine jungles, and the need to protect these things are very, very close to my heart. And to bring women on a stage to speak about this, very powerful, very beautiful woman, definitely is something. And I think that once we get into power, it is something that I definitely look forward to bringing back and to inviting even more countries to participate. I am very, very much interested in the East and in Africa to participate with us because we are lacking that relationship, and we're all supposed to be one family in this world, and I strongly believe that. So thank you for bringing those good memories.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and I'm coming. When you're doing the beauty pageantry, I will be there.
Oh, you can host it, Queen
Also,
Amina.
the film industry. Oh,
Pardon?
thank you. Oh, I want to talk about the film industry also. In many countries, especially my dear country, Nigeria, what really brought Nigeria out is not just the oil that we have, it's also the entertainment industry, where a lot of movies, the Nollywood movies, which I'm part of, has become huge and it's everywhere in the world now. Is this something also that, if offered to Belize as a country and you are the leader, would you take a look at it? Because again, young people are interested in the entertainment industry today.
Of
And
course.
we've not heard anything out of Belize, in this area, in this industry. So is it something that you would like to have some of your cabinet members look into for you?
Certainly. In the 2013, 14, and even up to 15, I sat on the board of the Belize Audiovisual Industry Association, which is linked to the Film Commission of Belize. And I traveled to various huge film trade shows like the RAP in LA.
Oh,
I have been talking, and I met the investors in Bollywood. There is very, very much a lot of interest in Belize. Our country is beautiful. We're on the Caribbean Sea. We have pristine jungles. We have the best of both worlds, really. Um, and the interests are there. Our government had not seen the importance and what film can bring. They just, I guess, lacked the vision. And so, where industry leaders in film were asking us for incentive and tax rebates, and this is where we failed to give that back because they didn't see the potential. I, of course, have been in the entertainment industry. I know the potential it can bring, not just to tourism, but to education, to the creative art, to artists in Belize. It can develop everything from industry to education. It fills that gap that we have in Belize. And so I definitely, we do have two companies that have reached out to us asking us that very question. And we are entertaining these things. And I mean, whether or not we get into government, it is definitely something that I can assist with if people are interested in doing that. I think one of the proposals that we're looking at in the next few weeks is a film city to be created in Belize, studios and all the rest of it. It was just very, very interesting. And I love it. It makes me so excited to know that all of these people want to come to my country.
beautiful. So the last thing I would have for you before you give us your final words are the crime rate in Belize among youths especially, and also the drugs, the human trafficking, they're all in a surge. And what will be some of the things that you do? I know we spoke about creating jobs to get these people off the streets, bringing entertainment that would excite them to get off the streets, agriculture, we've spoken about that, throwing more light on tourism. All of these things will come together to bring, to get this kids off the street. When they're busy,
Right.
they would stay off of distance. But what are some of the immediate significant change? Because some of this other stuff will take time. What do you think your party would do immediately to be able to cut down these numbers among these youths committing these horrible crimes?
Right. So I know we mentioned about the lack of opportunity in some crimes, and these reflect on petty crimes, on breaking and entering, on shoplifting and things like that. I believe that when we're facing with these type when we're faced with these type of crimes, we should be understanding, and we should be lenient, and we should give opportunities. I want to see that our courts start putting these young people to do community service for the first and second offense instead of throwing them in a jail. And when I say service, I mean community service with mentors that will help you to get a job, to get back into school. We strongly believe in a decentralized government, in a participatory governance, where our people from the grassroots will be able to easily communicate with our government leaders to tell us what is needed. So these types of crime, I want to see it handled in this way: opportunities, and a soft heart, a motherly heart in dealing with these types of crimes. When it comes to murder and human trafficking and rape and child abuse, now this is when the nickname of the Iron Lady of the West comes in, because I have zero tolerance for this. I have zero tolerance. And the punishment right now, if for example there's actually no structure, because somebody can go into court for rape and get 3 months in prison, or it's bailable. um, Crazy things like this. And somebody can go being accused of murder, and because of the lack of a forensic lab, the case get thrown out, and you see the same person come back again for another murder or another gruesome crime. And these, I really believe that we need to have life imprisonment for these people, with community service. They need to work. They need to not just be in a jail where they're pumping weights at the gym that they have in there, watching TV all day. I think that we need to be very, very harsh when it comes to these kinds of crime. And our people need to know that if you commit that kind of crime in Belize, there will be justice. Justice in Belize is not just for good people, it's for bad people as well. And it can go two ways, but there will be zero tolerance for this kind of crime. For rape, this is also, I would actually ask for life imprisonment for rape, because there's no way I can, with a clean conscience, allow somebody that has raped a woman or a child. We've seen rape of children, young as 4 months old. I think was the youngest that we saw a few years ago, and that is totally unacceptable. As a mother and a female leader of this country, there's no way I can turn a blind eye on that. And this person needs to spend the rest of his days in prison.
Well, thank you so much for this, Belizeans. We're going to be pushing out this broadcast to you guys, and I want you guys to take time, sit down later with your family and friends, have a little dinner over this broadcast and truly listen to the heart where Madam Nancy is speaking from. I don't live in Belize, but when you hear someone speaking from the heart, you can tell. You can't pretend over camera. You can't pretend over a visual broadcast like this. It's clear that politicians are liars. That's how people have related it. But there are some politicians that truly, truly love their country and they want to stand and fight. Just like Esther in the Bible, if I die, I die, is the attitude that Madam Nancy is having. She is not reserving anything. She's not scared of what could happen. She's received threats of every kind of threat, but she's still here saying, "This is my country, and I will do everything to protect my country." So you guys need to really go back and listen to this broadcast and just see from where she is speaking from. Is she speaking from a selfish place that, oh, I want to become the winning party just because I want to be showing everybody that a woman can do it? Or she is speaking from a place where truly she has a heart to save her country, Belize, the only country she knows and still continue to know today, you know. So I really want you guys to make an informed judgment before going to the polls very, very soon, and put the person that is going to fight for you and protect your country in position, not the ones that have been looting and recycling their positions to. It's happening in my country, so I can totally, totally relate to this. This is why I speak the way I speak. So, Madam Nancy, I'm going to let you give us your final words before we would let you go.
Thank you very much, Queen Amina, and thank you for all the listeners and viewers of this show. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to me. To the Belizean public, I want to say that, we are not facing just another election. This is the election that can make the change, that can pivot the future of Belize. So we're facing a crisis, not an election. And it is up to us all. Everybody needs to put their best efforts forward, because Belize is worth saving. We cannot continue on the same path of destruction that they have put us. We need to stand up for Belize, and this is the opportunity. We have less than a month to election, and we need to stand up and do what is right. Finally, do what is right. The $50 that are being paid for your vote, you can spend that in the first minute at the store. But what I am offering, what the Belize People's Front is offering, is to give you back your country. It is nationhood. We're offering you your nation. It is worth every time. So please come out and vote from your conscience. Do not vote for party politics. Do not vote from conscience. But to the international community that is listening, I know that there are a lot of friends of Belize out there. Reach out to your friends and for Belize, for the Belize People's Front, because we will do what is right by our people and by the friends of Belize throughout the world. To the women leaders that are listening around the world, I know a lot of you are viewers and are fans of the Queen Amina show, which is an excellent show. But it is important for women leaders around the world and women activists to hold hands across the seas, because our world is in crisis, our world is in jeopardy, and it will take women to step forward and hold each other's hands through the struggling times. So I invite you to reach out to me, and let's do this together for my country and for yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time today. Women, you've heard that. So one of the things that I will encourage you guys to do a video, send it out, send that video out, helping out Belizeans, because when one country wins, we all win. You might not be living in Belize today, but trust me, what happens in Belize can affect you wherever you're living. So make sure you are connected.
Right.
If you do your videos, promoting Madam Nancy, send it to me or send it on our page and we'll forward it to her. How can we follow you on social media pages?
Sure. I am on social media, Nancy Marin on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. You can just type in Nancy Marin or the Belize People's Front, and you will find us there.
Okay.
And we're
All
happy
right.
to
Thank you.
receive the videos and the good well wishes.
Absolutely. We're going to work on that. Thank you so much for your time today. And I wish you best of luck.
Thank you so much for having me. Let's do it again soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Take care. Bye. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching the Queen Amina show today. If you see boldly what is written there, you're going to see the Vigo Unsung Heroes International Award coming up virtually on the 6th of December. We need to fix that, the writing. 6th of December 2020, we're going to be having a virtual event celebrating the unsung heroes. Do you know a hero around you, around the world, your family, yourself? Go on our website, vigorawards.org, and nominate your hero, because you will be helping us to help you celebrate them virtually. So, yes, 2020 is going to be lit on the Vigor Unsung Heroes Award, especially the people that are working during this pandemic. The essential workers, the essential product providers, nominate them so we can celebrate them. Thank you guys so much for watching the Queen Amina show today. Please go back and listen to the broadcast again and encourage Belizeans to come out to vote. Let them come and vote, 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 because that's the only power any country, any citizens of any country have to bring a change to their world and their community. So don't sit down complaining. Go out and vote. We'll see you again next week on the Queen Amina Show, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, keep smiling, keep loving, and keep watching the Queen Amina Show.